as kids, we all had our favorite Star Wars characters that we would pretend to be. In my family, we were kind of born into Star Wars. My older brother was always Han Solo. My older sister was always Princess Leia. I really couldn't be Darth Vader, so I decided to go with Boba Fett. Boba Fett is by far one of the most interesting characters in the Star Wars universe, strictly because he's so mysterious. In early concepts, Boba Fett was actually supposed to be Darth Vader's brother. That was immediately scrapped. But however, even following the disaster of the Star Wars Holiday Special, Boba Fett became the most profitable of the characters. So, what is it about this character that we all love so much? Boba Fett actually shares his birth with the entire clone army. Boba was the first clone ever made, however, he was not modified like the others. Instead, the template, who he called father, Jango Fett, raised him as his son after striking a deal with Count Dooku. For a substantial amount of money, he also demanded one unmodified clone to raise as his own. This young Boba would go on to witness his father fight and defeat Obi-Wan Kenobi in one-on-one combat on Kamino, and then is also present at the trial of Padme Amidala, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin Skywalker on Geonosis. Also in Geonosis, he sadly sees his own father's death at the hands of Jedi High Master Mace Windu. Following the Battle of Geonosis and the outbreak of the Clone Wars, Boba found refuge with one of his father's associates, Aurra Sing, Bossk, and Castus. They began to plan his revenge against Mace Windu for what he saw as the murder of his father. As well as gaining his father's armor, he also gained possession of Slave One, his father's ship. Together, they made a plan that Boba would disguise himself as a cadet clone, board Mace Windu's vessel, the Endurance, and attempt to blow it up, killing not only Windu, but the entire crew. The plan will go on to backfire when Windu is able to escape and a clone is killed instead. When it is discovered the crew of the Endurance had survived and were being held captive by Aurra Sing, Bossk, and Fett, Castus decided he wanted out. Soon after, Sing murdered him because she believed he was going to sell them out to the Republic. That one murder then gave Plo Koon and Ahsoka Tano the information they needed to discover who had kidnapped the crew. Fett demanded that Mace Windu himself, who was severely wounded from the explosion of the Endurance, come meet him and face off between the two. Instead, Plo Koon, along with Ahsoka Tano, went, capturing Boba Fett and Bossk, and as far as they knew, killing Aurra Sing. In prison, Fett became somewhat of a tough guy, gaining much respect as the son of Jango Fett, the most feared bounty hunter in the universe. After his release, he began his own clan of bounty hunters. Members including his forever protector Bossk, the human Dengar, the droid C-21 Highsinger, and finally, a villain female named Latz Razi. While on a mission, they picked up Asajj Ventress to aid them in their mission. After the entire crew except Asajj and Boba were taken out by rebels, Asajj tied Boba up, replacing him with the captive they were transporting. After deciding to leave his syndicate and join the Hutt clan, Boba became known as one of the deadliest bounty hunters in the galaxy, much like his father. He used his father's armor, repainting it green and red. He once again took possession of Slave 1, which had been stolen by the pirate Hondo Ohnaka, and also earned the very violent trait of disintegrating his enemies. With the end of the Clone Wars came the open of the Galactic Civil War. Boba was serving the Hutt clan, but at the same time was also serving Darth Vader and the Empire, strictly because they knew his fine pedigree as a bounty hunter. It is actually Fett who is the one to inform Lord Vader that the pilot who blew up the Death Star was not only a relation, but is in fact his son. Further in the war, it is discovered by Fett that a large bounty is placed on the smuggler Han Solo. Solo has become a general in the Rebel Alliance to restore the Republic. When the bounty is put out both by Vader and the Hutts, Boba immediately takes part in order to gain the wealth that would come along with the bounty. After capturing Han Solo on Bespin, he returns the carbonated Han Solo to Jabba's palace on Tatooine. For a few years, they live in peace, continuing his trade, until one night, there is a knock at the palace gate. The figure is the Ubi's bounty hunter, Bush. But later that night, they discover it is not Bush, but Princess Leia Organa, in disguise as the Ubi's bounty hunter. She is then caught. Han Solo is thrown into one of Jabba's cells with Chewbacca, and Leia is forced to become Jabba's slave. Jabba even offers Boba Fett Leia as a gift for his service. However, he refuses, finding it unsatisfying to him. The next day, the Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker arrives to free his friends. Instead, he is thrown into the Rancor pit, killing the Rancor, but then being open to Jabba's final punishment. The entire palace is brought out on sand barges to the Sarlacc pit in the middle of the Tatooine wastelands. There seemed to have been actually a plan prepared. R2-D2 was able to get the Jedi Knight his lightsaber, and Boba, in an attempt to stop the escape, flew to the sand barge, attempting to take down Lando Calrissian, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Chewbacca. Instead, he is hit by a staff wielded by a blind Han Solo and thrown into the Sarlacc pit. Now, this is up for debate. As a Boba Fett fan, I like to believe he survived, because you can't stop the Fett. But many also believe he passed. In Legends, he did survive, but we have no idea what is to happen in canon. But Boba Fett, from his T-visor to his disintegrations to his very sad backstory, has always been and will always be one of Star Wars' best characters. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I think it's better than my last one. If you really enjoyed it, like it, and you know what, subscribe, because, it's always great to have friends. All right.